So I just landed in Denmark and I can't wait to show you guys all of the things that I've bought in my very long trip in Japan. And before I get started, do like and subscribe if you like to know a lot more about the things that I've bought. I don't think this video is going to be enough to cover all of the details on why I've bought certain things. So let's get the intro rolling. So before we get started, let me just very quickly explain what is my use case so that you can then determine for yourself on whether these are the things that you should indeed consider to buy. So for me, I'm still relatively new to filming. I do have a Sony ZV-E10, but that allows me to, of course, test a lot of entry-level gear. So if you are like me, just starting in your journey to become a better photographer, a better videographer, then these are some of the gears that you might be interested in. So we do have the Ulanzi X Aircross F38 carbon travel tripod, and I got this tripod because I do have an existing tripod which I bought before, but it wasn't really good enough for my use case. I mean, it's okay if I use it for certain talking head shots and relatively simple videos. That's okay, but then I really wanted to have a fluid head. So the one that you see here, this allows me to then follow my subject, especially if I'm shooting with a longer lens and I wanted to make sure that the subject is in a certain part of the frame. So that's why I gotten this travel tripod. And of course, there are other reasons why I gotten this. I really like the F38 system. Another reason is, of course, the lightweightness of this travel tripod, and of course the price. So it's very difficult to find another high quality travel tripod of this weight class that comes with this that comes with a fluid head that can handle the things that I need. So really good purchase that I feel. So do look out for it. I think Ulanzi did recently roll out a new version of their travel tripod. So if you're interested, I think you can also look into that as well. Great. Then the next thing that I bought is a teleprompter, and this is from I think Desview, and it's a 8.8 inch mirror, glass front. So it's not extremely big, but it does allow me to put out a simple script. So it looks something like this. Essentially what you do is you mount this onto your camera lens, and in front of this you will then put your smartphone or a tablet, so it will then reflect the script to the presenter so that you can then read your script while very much focused on the audience. So that's the Desview teleprompter that I bought. It does come with quite a bit of things. So as you can tell, to mount on the lens means that you do need to have a lot of adapters. And here it does come with the whole range of adapters to make sure that it can actually fit onto most of the lenses. So the only downside to this is because it's relatively cheap. The packaging for the lens cover, the lens mount is not very well, it's not super well made, so just keep that in mind. But it's functional enough. And of course you also have a remote control. So it's a Bluetooth remote control. You pair with your tablet or you pair it with your smartphone, so you can then scroll and move along the presentation. In case you are talking faster than the script, then you need to move it a little bit faster. So very nice to have this as well. And of course, this is multifunctional. I guess you can use this with your laptop, your presentation. So it's really good to have this. Next, I want to move on to the lenses. I did bought 2 lenses. I believe in the video that I made before I went to Japan, I did mention that I wanted to buy 2 lenses, and here I have them. I have the Sony 11mm f1.8 lens. This is the lens which I use This is the lens which I use when I need to do vlogging, I need to do a landscape shot. This is the lens that I use. And you might be asking me, why can't you use the 16 to 50 millimeter kit lens? I think it's great. The kit lens is really versatile, but then at 16 millimeter on the APS-C lens means that I do need to stretch quite a bit in order to get myself and the background in frame, which is really difficult to do. And especially when you start to add active stabilization into the crop factor of the active stabilization, it makes it really difficult to actually have a very good frame when you're doing a vlog. So that's one of the reasons why I bought this lens. Another reason is I realized that when you're doing selfie with the ZV-E10, with the kit lens, you can't really get all of the people that you want. So if you have a big group, you have a big family that you wanted to do a selfie shot, so the 11 millimeter will do it much better than the 16 millimeter. And of course, this is f1.8. It also allows me to do much better low light shots. You know, in many times when you are doing your family shots, or if you're having dinner with your friends, it's normally indoors, lighting conditions are not so good, and here having a f1.8 is it's critical if you do not want your ISO to be bumped up too high. Right, so that's the 11 millimeter f1.8 lens. Very well made. I had to buy it new because it's still relatively new in the market. I couldn't find too many well-priced used ones. So yeah, so that's the lens. But along with that, I also bought the ND filter for it. So you know, if I'm outdoors taking a landscape shot, maybe with a waterfall or with the river, I could then use the f1.8, because as you know, if you want to use f1.8 outdoors, it's extremely difficult if you don't have the ND filter, because everything will be blown out. So that's the reason why I've bought a ND filter for the f1.8 lens. Speaking about f1.8 lens, I also bought another Sony lens, and this is the Sony 50mm f1.8 OSS. So it's a little bit older than their latest FE 50mm lens, which is roughly the same price as this one as well. But I got this actually used, and the reason for it, because it's been around in the market for a very long time, you can actually get it for a very good price. So the reason why I bought this is because I used to have the Sigma 30mm f1.4. Absolutely love the lens. However, after some time of going around and shooting, I realized that I'm not too comfortable getting too close to people. So with a 30mm lens, if you want your subject to be framed correctly or framed properly in the shot, you actually need to get quite close to your subject. So I wasn't very comfortable with that. I realized that I tend to prefer to shoot on my 55 to 210mm telephoto lens when I'm going outdoors, you know, taking shots of the street, having some street photography, taking shots of people. I tend to prefer to shoot at the 55mm range rather than the 30mm range, and that's why I wanted to get a 50mm lens f with a low f number, and which allows me to then of course take those really good photos when it's, you know, low light conditions, etc., which, you know, the 55 to 210mm might not be able to do super well. So this is one of the reasons why I got the 50mm lens. Another reason why I gotten the OSS is because the ZV-E10 doesn't come with IBIS, doesn't come with in-body stabilization, and that's why I wanted an OSS lens to make sure that I actually can shoot at f1.8. So why do I say that? Because, you know, if you don't have if you don't have OSS, if you don't have stabilization when you're taking photos, then what you need to do to make sure that the photo is actually sharp is you have to then take with a very high shutter speed. a higher shutter speed. And that comes with a few problems because that means that you have less light coming into your camera. So that's also something that I realized with my Sigma 30mm f1.4. I mean, f1.4 is great, but then when you are outdoor and you try to shoot at f1.4, you realize that you actually need to shoot at a very high shutter speed in order to make sure that your photo is sharp. So that then cuts into the amount of light that you get in your f1.4. So this looks like a less, a slower lens compared to the Sigma, but because of OSS, I think it's actually comparable. So maybe, in terms of background blur, it's not as good as a f1.4, but then in terms of the sharpness, in terms of the ISO performance, you're going to get it very similar to an f1.4 lens that doesn't have OSS. So those are the two lenses I bought, and of course these are super lightweight, small, and very compatible with the Sony ZV-E10. Next, I want to move the topic into audio. So I do have, of course, the Rode wireless microphones. However, I wanted to make sure that I also have a very simple on-camera microphone that I could then use when I'm doing run and gun kind of shots. It's also going to be very useful when I'm doing talking head shots like this. I don't necessarily need to wear I don't necessarily need to make sure that I charge up my Rode wireless microphones. So that's one of the key benefits for this, because you don't actually have to keep in mind or charge yet another device. And it's relatively big, so you're not going to lose it as easily. So that's one of the reasons why I actually went out to buy this D80 microphone. I think it's the D4 Mini. I didn't get the dual version, so they do produce a microphone that actually allows you to record both front and back. But for me, for my use case, I really only needed it to do it from the front. So that's why I gotten this microphone. All right. Then I wanted to talk a little bit about audio. So for my use case, I actually wanted to make sure that I have a solution around when I'm in a presentation. I wanted to make sure that when there are multiple presenters coming on stage, people don't actually have to pass the wireless microphone, because this, when you attach or when you pass it to someone else, it can be quite disruptive. So I wanted to make sure that we actually have a solution, a mic that people can hold and carry. And I think there are a few solutions out there which allows you, which actually is a mic. It's just a plastic holder that holds your wireless microphone, but I found those to be extremely expensive. I think it's $20-30 just for that plastic holder to hold your microphone, which I don't understand. And here what I've done is I repurposed one of my monopod. So this is my Insta360 monopod. I bought this Koshu mount. So it's a it comes with 3 Koshu mounts. And what I can do with this is mount this on my monopod, and I could quickly transform this into a mic. So I'm just going to attach this one here so you can see how it looks like. So you can actually have it looking like this. So it looks a little bit dodgy, but then essentially it's a microphone for you to speak into when you are presenting. So it allows me to have a solution when I have a presentation, multiple presenters coming on board, they can then pass the mic around. Or whether there's a panel, you have 3, 4, 5 different people, I can't mic up every single person. So what I will do is then we can then have a microphone that you can pass around, and there will still be, of course, recording. So that's why I bought this Koshu mount. Next, I wanted to talk a little bit about the tripod that I bought. So I used to have a very small mini tripod, and that works to some extent. However, it's not quite stable enough to hold up the Sony ZV-E10. It was really more for my small GoPro camera. So here what I've done is I've bought another Ulanzi product. It's the MT73 tripod that you see here. Very well made, very stable for the use case of the Sony ZV-E10. As long as you're not using very heavy lens, it's actually very stable. As you can see, it doesn't move. It's there, right? So it's really good mini tripod that I bought. Really good solution for desktop type of recording. I don't have to bring my whole big tripod with me. I just needed to make sure that this is on the desk, and it also of course extends out quite a bit. So yeah, I don't think I will ever need to use it at this height, but still it's great to have that option. So and this is also really good when I go traveling with my ZV-10. I know I told you that I gotten the 11mm lens, but having this means that I could then mount the camera here, extend it out a little bit more so that I can get a wider frame for the surrounding. So really good purchase, I feel. Do look out for this. So along with the mini tripod, I actually bought the f38 plate so that I can actually use it alongside with my mini tripod. So it's super handy when I have this along with my camera. So I just need to attach the plate to the bottom of my camera, and I can quickly mount on here. I can quickly mount it on my big tripod, but more importantly, I could also quickly mount it on my bag. Why is that the case? Because I actually bought a f38 mount for my bag. So this means that I could then clip my camera into the bag, and it's really helpful when it comes to getting quick access to the camera when I'm outdoor. It's not on the sling, so it helps with the weight distribution a little bit. So it's not always on the sling, which can be quite tiring on the neck. So that's something that I bought. But talking about the sling, these are the 20mm ones. So it comes with these clips, which looks very much like the Peak Design ones. Very functional, very easy to mount on the camera. I actually do have the tabs on my camera right now. So they come with these quick adjusters as well, so you can just pull on them and you will then be able to adjust the length of the straps really easily. And with this, I also bought a wrist strap. So it's the same system. There's a small magnetic thing that goes with it, but essentially you just put it with your strap, put it around your wrist. You can clip it onto your camera and it's not going to go anywhere. So that's the wrist strap that I bought. Very affordable. I think it's one of the best buy. And along with it, I also bought a softbox diffuser. This is a really small one. I actually spent a lot of time thinking of what kind of a solution I want to buy to make sure that my speed light, my Godox TT350S, is able to adjust the light and take better photos with flash. But I decided to go with this because I realized that I actually don't use the flash that much, at least not yet. Maybe I will do more flash photography with my 50mm lens right now. Now I come to the last item. It's perhaps the star of the show. It's this black box, right? So it's made by a company called LifeMoi. Never heard about them, but I do found this to be extremely useful. So it's essentially a box that allows you to carry your spare batteries with you, so you can do that, but it also allows you to charge the battery when the battery is in the box. So it comes with a cable that's built into the box, so you can just unwind it out, plug it into any charger, and you start charging your battery. And interestingly, you can also use this as a emergency battery charger for your phone, for any other device. You just need to plug it in here. There's an output dock that you can use to charge your phone, and it's going to use your spare camera batteries as the battery to charge your phones. So it's quite useful. But on top of that, it also carries your SD card. So there's 2 SD card carriers here. It does also read the SD card, and the way you do it is you unwind the cable and you'll find that your SD card slot is here. So again, you can use this to replace your SD card reader if you need to connect this onto your PC, onto your laptop. So it's extremely useful. And last but not least, it does also read out your battery charge percentage. So, a lot of times you don't remember how did you charge your spare battery or not. So very quickly you can actually see, what's the percentage charge on your spare batteries. Now, they also make this in for the larger batteries for Sony. So they have this for the Z battery for Sony. So if you are shooting with a larger camera, the full size, the full frame cameras from Sony, or the 6700 A6700 camera from Sony, you can actually get kind of the same thing, same size, but then they will be able to use it for the Z battery for Sony. So that kind of sum up everything that I've bought from Japan. I wanted to buy a little more stuff, but then I think it's perhaps enough for me to play around right now. I think these 2 lenses are perhaps the most interesting for me. I will have to spend a little bit more time with them. Great. Thanks for staying for so long, watching this video, for me rambling on about what I've bought from Japan. I hope you find it useful. If you're like me, just starting out, I think these are some of the gears that you should look into getting, especially for the use case like me, where you are spending quite a bit of time on making videos, but then also taking some photos. And I'll see you in the next videos, where I will go into the detailed review of each of these products, so that you can then decide for yourself whether it actually makes sense for you to buy them. Great, and I'll see you next time. Bye.